I paid 6 voice actors to bring Punishing Grayraven to life. This is how it turned out.
There was a door. A door appeared in the darkness. I remember when the door was shut. It made a loud noise.
How disappointing you are. You're wasting away what you could be worth. Ignoring all the effort made by others. Huh. No one would want to be with you with the way you're acting now. Let her go!
The terminal lights up with an incoming call, interrupting the dream before it starts.
Did I actually fall asleep?
The annoying doctor in Star of Life insisted that Vanessa stay for another 2 weeks after her wounds had healed. She has now finally left the ward, which had become somewhat familiar. Whether intentional or not, she's yet to receive any combat missions after returning for almost a week. It could be either the world has become too peaceful, or someone has turned her work hours into more time for recovery out of some silly considerations. Vanessa quickly adjusts her posture and tidies her hair that has become messy during the short rest, preparing to start her duty. When everything is ready, she picks up the call.
Commandant Vanessa V. Gretz, would this be a good time to discuss filling vacancies for your squad?
Go ahead.
I haven't received any applications yet. Is there any problem with the submission process?
I saw the list of candidates and didn't think any one of them could replace Teasell.
I see. I will continue looking for potential members. I'm slightly concerned that... Would it be alright for an elite squad to be understaffed? Of course, it is ultimately up to the Commandant to decide. I'm just suggesting it may be an option to choose a relatively fitting candidate for team integrity, given that the mission could be potentially challenging.
I'll think about it.
How is Bambinata? The report you uploaded yesterday mentioned that.
She just has to read the external memory module again like always. The combat data is all coded into the external memory module. It won't affect her fighting abilities. I'll double-check her status after this.
I have no intent to question your capabilities, but the situation on the surface is still tense. There may be missions assigned to you very soon. If Ygritte decides to not recruit more members, please ensure that current members is still in best condition. This is for your safety.
Understood.
Vanessa hangs up the call and puts aside the terminal, displaying the profiles of dozens of substitute members. As the screen dims, the portraits and information of constructs become unrecognizable. The advisor had a point. After Teasell left, Bambinata became the only construct left in Ygritte, greatly limiting their combat strength and capabilities in implementing tactics. As the Commandant, Vanessa already saw this coming some time earlier. She has not submitted the application only because of one unanswered question. How can she create loyal toys? The foolish method used by that chief obviously would not suit her. How could she create a false loving home with such irrational actions and laughable values? If everyone could obey her orders like Bambinata, things would be so much more efficient. Why should puppets have their own thoughts after all? Why would they risk their own lives just to defect? Before Teasell left at the seaside, she was actually keen to ask this question, but the pride deep within did not allow her to. Thinking of this unfinished dream, she becomes increasingly restless for no reason.
What a disgusting dream.
Mistress, are you feeling unwell today?
Vanessa's expression and attire look nothing unusual, her pace of walking remaining unaltered. Still, her anxiety is spreading in the air like the light fragrance on her body. Bambinata's blue bionic pupils carefully observe her mistress's actions, trying to figure out where her anxiety comes from.
Is your frame doing alright?
The memory data in the external module has already been retrieved. The sync ranges.
I'll have a look myself.
Yes, mistress.
Vanessa connects Bambinata's external memory module to her terminal and starts to check sector by sector.
The read time of combat data is lower than before. Could this be because it lacked regular maintenance while on Earth?
Sorry. Bambinata should have discovered it sooner.
After this, I want you to go to Asimov and ask him to check your external memory module. I'll send the request to him later.
Yes, mistress.
Bambinata's amnesia used to stir up some debate. In the early days, the construct operation carried greater risks, and the consequences were often revealed soon after the frame was activated. To researchers, particularly those whose main field of study included the mind, Bambinata was definitely an important subject, as her condition was stable for quite some time before the inability to recall memory data began to appear intermittently. But as the war progressed, all the unresolved construct symptoms and potential problems had to be put aside, and conservative measures were taken to ensure that the research subjects could fulfill their duties normally for the time being. After Vanessa took Bambinata into her squad, Asimov upgraded her original memory assist device and configured some built-in data that allowed her to read important instructions immediately at any time after her symptoms took place, so they would not impact her battle significantly. But, apart from the necessary data for battle and missions, the external memory module cannot store Bambinata's memory infinitely. Once it reaches the capacity limit, the earlier memory will be wiped as new data is written into the device.
This is all I can do for now. My guess is that her symptoms could be the after effects of the experiment, but I cannot make a more concrete conclusion without its detailed data. The key to solving Bambinata's experiment is to figure out how the Inver device causes the conflict in her mind and how to respond to it. But all the current research on the Inver device is still in its exploratory stage. It is nearly impossible to find the correct way to avoid or resolve her problem under the current conditions. Perhaps when we have finally deciphered the secrets of the Inver device, we will be able to find the missing pieces that resolve her complications, but I'm quite certain it would be an impossible task for now. The good news is that her amnesia isn't due to memory loss. The data entered her deep mind and couldn't be retrieved. We humans also have many things we can't recall, but these memories still exist in the subconscious. In other words, if we can resolve the problem, she will be able to recall all her memories, in theory.
If you think this is the most appropriate way to handle her situation, so be it. I don't care what happens later. I just need my constructs to obey me, that's all. Isn't that right, Bambinata? Memory data continuity is good. The starting date is...
Vanessa's fingers freeze upon the terminal. That date, those numbers, is like a trigger in her head. Merely seeing them brings back the scenes of her past along with intangible pain. The unforgettable wounds, pulsating red tide, incapacitated chief lying in the basement, and Grey Raven with their worn-out frames. Somehow, an indescribable feeling drives her to tap reproduce memory data on the terminal. Establishing memory scenes, 100%. Reproducing memory data, 100%.
You're not allowed to pass through here.
How long has Grey Raven been gone?
1 hour 54 minutes since engaging with the enemy.
Not even 2 hours? The enemies just won't stop coming. In the end, I'm also doing such silly things.
Bambinata turns around to clear the enemies that lunge at Vanessa's flank, but the position she was guarding is immediately taken by more enemies. With her wounds, Vanessa has reached her physical limit. Bambinata holds her with one hand while trying to block the enemy attacks with the other. She puts explosives on a damaged short-range drone, blowing up a large wave of enemies, but more hetero creatures just swarm up, trampling over the remains of their fallen kin. The two of them continue to fight and retreat until the red tide has pushed them to a corner of the street. Bambinata lets Vanessa lean on a pile of rubble, trying to save her some stamina.
Bambinata is ready. Mistress, please take a break. Bambinata will hold them off until you can walk on your own. You can try to contact Gray Raven with this transmitter. Here is the detonator and the rest of the medicines and serum.
Seeing no response from Vanessa, Bambinata gently puts the detonator in her dominant hand.
The secret weapon was attached long ago. Bambinata has set it to the delayed mode that you often use. Once started, Bambinata will use the last 5 seconds to adjust the detonating position.
Bambinata holds her arm up to show Vanessa the explosives attached to her frame. The location of the explosives has been carefully calculated. Under extreme circumstances, it allows Bambinata to remain conscious for 1 extra instant before she is blown to pieces. That brief instant can maximize the value of this devotee's sacrifice. Bambinata turns around, trying to push the enemies back. Her petite body dances among the crimson waves like a splash of foam that refuses to be carried away. She may be able to disregard fatigue and pain, but her body is unable to withstand the onslaught of the tide of doom.
This should be enough for Gray Raven to... You better live on and bear the weight of my sacrifice for the rest of your lives.
Vanessa tries to sit up, but the excruciating pain from her wounds prevents her from doing so.
We'll stick together and overcome any obstacle. We'll never flee the battlefield because of hardship or fear.
Vanessa recalls Liv's words. Gazing at the blue figure inside the red tide, she makes an almost unnoticeable smile.
Bambinata, it's been so long. Is this enough?
The detonator slips from Vanessa's hand and falls to the ground, with fresh blood still on it.
I really want a shower. At least not like this.
No!
Bambinata gets distracted for 1 second and immediately receives a few deep wounds. Without Vanessa's careful maintenance, she looks like an abandoned old toy. The broken doll is utilizing all possible computing power to calculate a chance for her mistress to survive. After simulating all the methods that she can make use of herself, Bambinata still can't find an answer. But she must find one. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. The secret weapon, the countdown, the bloody battle, the construct frame. Hetero creatures will not wonder why the construct in front has slowed down. All they want is to tear their opponents apart. Before Bambinata is devoured by the hetero creatures in front of her, they suddenly collapse to the ground without any warning. Then, the enemies that are farther away also stop attacking. They just stand still, looking lost. A tall, slender figure walks toward them, his back facing the sun.
I didn't expect temporary access could be this powerful.
Teasell.
Hearing the name from Bambinata's mouth, Vanessa tries to open her eyes on the brink of unconsciousness. Vanessa's nearly stalled mind struggles to move again. She looks at the figure that appears from the wave of hetero creatures, somewhat shocked. When a construct becomes lost for a prolonged time, they've often been devoured by the red tide or have chosen to flee the battlefield. To any commandant, the least desirable situation would be to see their once comrades standing against themselves. After a brief moment of surprise, Vanessa immediately realizes that the person in front is no longer that toy who obeys all her orders, which means there is only one way to deal with him.
Did you purposely make the minion stop so you can laugh at your former mistress up close? Or did you come to me to share some experience of manipulating your own puppets?
Teasell does not answer. He just continues walking toward Vanessa until Bambinata holds the mantis blades that have ruthlessly cut through numerous enemies against him.
Stay back, Teasell.
Let him come. He didn't have to show up if he wanted to kill me. I want to hear what this traitorous puppet has to say in the final moment.
But...
Let him come, Bambinata.
Yes, mistress.
Bambinata runs to Vanessa first. She sits down to grab Vanessa's hand, still openly showing her hostility against Teasell. Teasell just calmly and slowly crouches down, taking a clean roll of bandage and medicine from his outfit. He carefully rewraps the dressing on Vanessa's left eye. After skillfully securing the end of the bandage, he puts the empty roll next to Vanessa's head. The empty bandage case falls to the ground, making a hollow sound.
This is the last bit of supplies I took from Babylonia.
Teasell looks directly into Vanessa's eyes. His voice is completely calm. He picks up the blood-soaked detonator and holds it in his hand like Vanessa used to.
I've been waiting for you to press it. Now that I think about it, I can remember your face each time you pressed the detonator. I forgot when it started, but I often wondered how you would press the button when it was my turn to be the bait. But I can guess it without having to experience it. You probably won't have any emotion at all. I hated your smile. Teasing, sarcasm, or even satisfaction. They were all the feedback given by an owner to their belongings. But when your belongings were blown up into pieces, you didn't even want to spare a laugh for the show. To you, we are just objects. When we were alive, you used us like toys. And when we vanished, you even stripped us of our very last purpose as objects. Bambinata may be your favorite. That's why I've been waiting to see your face when you blow her up. After you kill your favorite and most obedient toy, I will take your life with my own hands.
Bambinata won't let you do that, Teasell.
Teasell looks at Bambinata, his finger still rubbing on the button of the detonator. Vanessa sneers. Her and Teasell's positions have now reversed, but her pride has not dwindled even the slightest.
I have trained you well. Ha, your twisted sense of humor deserves my praise. Do it then. You can also free your fellow toy, Bambinata.
That's what I don't understand. I just cannot figure out how Grey Raven persuaded you to stay back and even made you change your attitude toward your toys. To you, their way of doing things has always been extremely ridiculous.
If you really want to know...
No, actually, I don't have to know anymore. I just want my body to belong to myself and myself only. Nothing else matters to me, whether it's you, Egret, or Grey Raven.
Teasell's face is still calm, like a still lake under the moonlight.
The name Teasell was chosen by you. I don't want it to appear on that monument as a member of Egret, next to your name. That's why I came here in person to announce to you that there will no longer be a Teasell in this world after this.
You...
Vanessa still has something to say, but an overwhelming sense of exhaustion knocks her out cold.
Mistress!
She's not dead. She's just passed out.
Teasell wants to lift Vanessa up, but Bambinata gets in his way. Her blade has already left a mark on Teasell's arm.
Don't touch her.
You better let me through. Otherwise, she will just die here. Do you really not hate her at all?
Why would Bambinata hate Mistress?
I heard that she might have tampered with your mind, so I understand your unconditional obedience. But don't you want to experience what it feels like to have everything decided by yourself? For yourself? You can do what you want to do instead of merely following someone else's orders. You can be a free individual.
Bambinata wants to do what Mistress wishes. Freedom isn't a necessary condition to complete Bambinata's missions.
Looks like you aren't ready yet. If you finally understand what I said one day, try to find me again. I can introduce you to them. Then you will realize what freedom actually means.
Memory data reproduction ended. Vanessa presses the stop button. Her finger hovers above the data edit menu without realizing it. She never thought that Teasell would approach Bambinata after she passed out. Bambinata did not hesitate a little bit, nor was there any sign of her frame being hacked into. Still.
If you finally understand what I said one day, try to find me again. I can introduce you to them.
Will Bambinata choose to leave her when she finally understands the meaning of freedom? Ultimately, it was not Bambinata's choice to join Egret as a combat construct, if she ever.
Go to Asimov now. He can find out about your other problems.
Okay, are you staying here, Mistress?
Just go.
Bambinata stops asking. She just salutes Vanessa and leaves. Vanessa opens Bambinata's sleeping pod. Without exception, all the accessories inside were handpicked by Vanessa herself. For some reason, she gets even more annoyed but cannot figure out where this emotion originated from. Vanessa throws a punch at the sleeping pod's alloy shell, making a dry, muffled thud. If Mistress does not want to talk about it, do not ask. This is the pattern that Bambinata has discovered through numerous attempts. She figures this would be the style of interaction most accepted by her mistress. When Mistress is willing to share her feelings with Bambinata, she will naturally be able to understand them. As for the anxiety that arises during this period, Bambinata has already learned to suppress it deep within herself.
Construct Bambinata from Egret, requesting external memory module checkup. Here you are again. Come, I have half an hour of free time. He will take over after that.
The researcher points to the other researcher next to herself. He is wearing a trainee tag and looks a little nervous.
Is this that construct from Egret? That classic case of construct amnesia?
He immediately covers his mouth, pointing out the subject's condition in front of her is way too harsh. Besides, Bambinata is more like a special research case than a patient to them. While he's hesitating whether to apologize for his rudeness, the other two have already continued their conversation.
Bambinata, are you here for a regular checkup? Or are you already experiencing some issues? Mistress said the data reading speed had become slower. It might be because it lacked regular maintenance while on Earth. Let me see. Oh, you are having symptoms again. No wonder. If that's the case, let's run a thorough check. Better safe than sorry. Just wait here while I get the mind probe ready. Understood.
The experienced researcher walks into the room next door where the devices are stored. A series of beeps can be heard as she configures the machine.
Hi, Bambinata, I am... Oh, sorry, my name doesn't really matter. Forget about it. You don't have to call me by my name.
Perhaps concerned that his name would bring Bambinata more unnecessary memories, the new researcher gives up introducing himself.
Okay.
sorry for just now. I didn't mean it. I have heard of you, but didn't expect to meet you on my first day. Wait, that doesn't sound right either. What I mean is, I'm sorry you're having these symptoms.
Bambinata looks down, but soon raises her head again.
That's alright. Everybody has gotten used to it. All that matters is Bambinata can still be of use.
Used to it. The researcher is speechless for a moment. That does not change the sad truth. If even the empathy of others has been worn away, how many times has she suffered from these helpless moments?
Alright, intern. Take this and set it up for her.
Got it.
The new researcher awkwardly sets up the device for Bambinata. Although he knows that connecting the device will not cause as much pain to constructs as it would for a human, he is still trying to perform the task as gently as possible. Bambinata lies down on the metal bed, just as she has done so many times before. Before closing her eyes, she takes a good look at the researcher. If he said his name just now, at least it would be stored in the external module for some time. With this meaningless thought in mind, Bambinata follows the instructions, ceasing to think.
You didn't see it in person. That monster was taller than a 10-story building in the end. Anyone would have freaked out. Oh? Why aren't you bragging about yourself this time? Individual capability means nothing on a battlefield like that. Can you demolish a building by yourself? Couldn't do much, even if there were a dozen of me. A dozen of you would hardly have any impact. I heard that almost all the elite squads on standby were dispatched in that battle. Anyway, thank goodness it's all over. I was prepared to die in the ocean. So what? We can always start again in a new frame. Talk as much as you want, but can you swear you weren't scared at all when you got badly wounded last time? Do you think I'm lame like you? I don't brag about my glorious days. Anyway, you've been recovering for quite some time already. You are returning to duty, aren't you? Which squad are you going to? I haven't decided yet. I was actually thinking of applying to become an elite member. What? You've been working hard behind me, haven't you? What a coincidence. I just heard that Egret was in need of members. Not too sure about the details, though. There wasn't any obituary either. People say one of them had gone missing. Egret? You serious? Hell no. I heard that guy defected. What? For real? Their commandant was top-notch. They never suffered any significant loss. There must be a reason behind it. Is that thing on your neck filled with trash? Can you at least use your brain? Rumor has it that those who had ever gone on a mission with Egret never came back with serious injuries. They either returned without a scratch, or didn't return at all. Think about it. I'm definitely not going. If it is a good squad, how come one of their own defected? Have you ever heard of anyone defecting from Grey Raven?
Impressive. Your great aspiration would probably make all the judges on the committee laugh out loud.
Vanessa claps as she walks out from the corner. She has been listening to them gossiping about Teasell's departure the moment she left Bambinata's room. The two constructs are visibly shocked. One of them quickly covers his mouth, but then puts his hand down awkwardly.
I don't know if Grey Raven will want you, but Egret definitely doesn't take trash.
You... Shut up!
If trash like you can join an elite squad, humanity is probably doomed. As a commandant of an elite squad myself, I can guarantee that you don't look like you can survive till that day. Better pray that you don't end up in the Red Tide on some surface mission.
Vanessa sneers and walks to her own lounge, not even looking back. One of the constructs apparently does not want to escalate the situation. He pulls the other construct away to the other side of the corridor. Vanessa stops walking as her terminal receives an incoming call.
Bambinata, Is there any problem with your external memory module checkup?
No, Mistress. The checkup is still in progress. Bambinata received a mission order and needs to head toward the designated location for a briefing immediately.
A mission? On whose order?
It seems to come from the President himself.
I haven't received any notice. Did he ask you to go alone?
There's also the Cerberus captain.
That woman from Cerberus? Why?
Vanessa hangs up and calls Celica.
Sorry, Vanessa. I'm just about to
start a mission briefing, right? I want to join this mission as Bambinata's overseer.
Huh? Does her frame have any problem?
No, but considering that one of the Egret members recently left the squad illegally, it would be safer for Bambinata to perform the mission with her commandant as the only remaining member of the squad. And I just happen to be free right now.
Commander?
Let her go. In a way, what Vanessa said makes sense.
Understood. Vanessa, I will sync the mission details to your terminal right away.